It is the June VPM webinar. Our guest this month is Randall Henderson from Rentvine. And guys, all of our guests want to encourage you to participate. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the question and answer box that is open for everyone to participate. Stop us at any point. We'll leave some extra minutes at the end for any questions, but yeah, we'll get started. Pete Newbank says, "What's up, Randall? Thank you for
What's
joining
up,
the
Pete?
VPN webinar." So
Hey, man,
good
happy to
stuff.
be here. Thanks for having such a great team, and man, just appreciate who VPM is and what you guys do. It's a great company. Excited to kind of partner with you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much. Again, we this is the June webinar. It's only 23 minutes. We'll touch on why the weird 23 number at the end of the webinar, but yeah, we are ready to get started. I'm Peter Hernandez, your host. Blah 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 blah. You've seen me around. I've been around the industry for many years, and happy to just be a part of all of this. Randall, however, in case you don't know Randall, he is the COO over at Rentvine, the technology partner and property managers. The technology that partners and property managers deserve. Wealth of experience and expertise with over 20 years of real estate investment and property management. Before Rentvine, you may know that Randall spent nearly a decade at Property Management Inc., where he held key leadership positions, including VP of Residential and Commercial. His expertise spanned marketing, training, support, and operations, demonstrating his commitment to fostering success among aspiring entrepreneurs. He styles himself as a banjo picker. That when I saw that, that was I didn't know that about you. I knew the whole surfing and everything else, but not the banjo picker. So pickleball enthusiast, an outdoor lover. I knew that. Event MC, one of the best, absolutely, and most importantly, a family man. So Randall, again, thank you so much for being here today. We
Thanks, Peter.
appreciate it.
I feel like you should have said blah 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 over that intro as well. I know how it feels to talk about
No.
yourself, man. Yeah, my grandfather was a bluegrass banjo player, a very famous banjo player in North Carolina. So when he passed away a few years ago, I said, and I'm a guy who says, as you might know, I say yes to just about everything.
Yeah.
New experiences, new challenges, and picking the banjo has been one of the more difficult and rewarding ones. So I know that's a funny one for a lot of people.
Well, I've got to say, I feel like I've known you forever, and I still learn something new every time.
Love it.
Well, let's jump right into it. One of the reasons I'm excited about this specific webinar is that VPM just launched the Rentvine training on the platform. So what does that mean for anyone in property management? That means that if you're looking for someone, if you're looking for a remote team member that's got Rentvine experience, remote team members can now be certified over the VPM platform as having Rentvine experience and training. So really excited for that partnership, and thank you for helping us make that happen, Randall. Really appreciate it. So yeah, anyone that's here today, if you are interested in looking for remote team members that have Rentvine certification, training, and experience, we have them now on the VPM platform. So
And that's
there's
huge.
been
I
a lot
mean,
of buzz,
yeah.
around Rentvine. Tell us a little bit about, give us high level, and then we're going to dive into what makes Rentvine different.
Yeah, and I'm stoked to hear about this partnership and kind of how it's progressing because as you guys know, at the core of your property management business, kind of that core software, which is based on an accounting system, it drives a lot of your other things. Now, when you start to stack, as Rentvine has, some of the operational challenges and operational solutions that you can put into a software, all of a sudden you become kind of dependent on that software, and day to day that's what you're working in. And so the history of kind of the development of Rentvine is in many ways a property management platform developed by property managers. If you guys know, our
Yeah.
founder Dave Borden and John Ewan both have decades of experience in the property management space, and John, our co-founder, is one of the most brilliant programmers
Mhm.
that I've ever met. And so customers of their other business started asking over the years, hey, we need a property management software that is kind of It's basically for us. It's not the
Yeah,
property management software that maybe the real estate side thinks we need. It's not just an adaptation of a Yardi, for example, of what may work for single family, but single family management is its own beast. And when
it
you have
is.
in this country, you have a percentage of investors that are choosing that third party property management company. We just felt like the tech was underwhelming for that property manager. And so this is built entirely with them in mind. These guys have been out of beta for about 3 years now and in development for 8. But early on, it's been so cool to watch as property managers give us feedback. We build to what
Mhm.
they need. And
Yeah.
that's kind of the theme of what I hope people take away today. Number one, it's that we listen to our customers. We're built on property management principles for single family managers. And so we listen to you guys. But
Absolutely. So let's just touch a little bit on that. You mentioned how early on there was things there was a need in the industry that just wasn't being addressed by
yeah,
other platforms.
right.
Early on, what were some of those needs? What were some of those wants from the industry that you guys identified?
That's a great question. So one of the core principles at Rentvine is that we try to strengthen the relationship between property managers and their clients and customers. And I think one of the only ones that recognize that a property manager has a client and they have a fiduciary responsibility to that client, and that is the owner of the property. Their job is to do two things, right? Make them money and preserve that asset. However, the tenant is also a key part of that relationship. If you have successful long tenancies, you're probably going to have successful long-term investments. And so, as opposed to other software companies or other developers, we looked at how do we make the property managers more valuable? How do we make it so that they're bringing, every time a statement comes in, that owner saying, man, I love my property manager. That person's crucial to the success of my investment. We believe that the single family manager is the keystone of real estate success for single family investment.
Yeah, it reminds me of something I heard Dave Borden say 2 years ago, actually, at one of the at the Texas conference. He got on stage and he said, uh, "We are here to make you look like rock stars to your owners."
Yeah.
That was a big. I mean, he could have just said that, dropped the mic, and walked away.
I totally agree. But what it's done is it's shaped our approach to partnerships and
Hmm.
fees within the software. So for example, we don't really believe that we should be benefiting from extra partnerships or fees. We think that the property manager is that key relationship in the deal. So we're going to try to set up, and we already have set up relationships and opportunities within our software to where the PM is still that person driving the revenue on those ancillary services. If you make a deal if you're doing Z Inspector or you're doing Tenant Turner, or you're doing Show Mojo, you're doing just myriad of different partnerships that you need to integrate into your software. Our philosophy has been that the property manager is the one that is still the keystone. So we're not going to intervene. We're going to try to empower that property manager to give them the flexibility to build whatever tech stack they need that makes them look good for that owner and tenant.
Yeah, I think that's a huge plus, especially when it comes to this industry has got so many sandboxes.
It does.
It creates a nightmare for property managers to have to play in so many of them, right? And you're creating this ecosystem of like this huge sandbox where every one of your clients can then just go to work like they do with every day with any one of these partners.
Yeah, and that's one of the big differentiators I would say at Rentvine is that we don't look at the space as we're going to control the integrations, or we're going to charge people for the integrations, or any of that stuff. When you subscribe to Rentvine, when you're a Rentvine customer, you get all of the integrations. It's unlimited, and we are the only platform that is built on what's called an open RESTful API. And I know that's a very technical term, that
Yeah.
RESTful API, but what it basically means is that any nerd who builds and who develops is going to understand from the word RESTful how to get data out of Rentvine that they need and how to put data in. That means two-way integrations can be done without even Rentvine's developers being involved because of the state of that API that we wrote for the core of Rentvine. Rentvine's entire platform is based on an API. So as it's called, as you know, you click a screen inside of Rentvine to generate a report on a property, it simply calls that API and is built on that. So you could take that same report and integrate it into any other
Mm,
software or any other partner. So the field is wide open for
yeah,
any tech stack that you're using as a property manager, you can use within Rentvine.
that's great. That's really awesome. We've got a question here in the box, and this is a really good question because we hear it all the time. People are happy, unhappy, or whatever with their current platform.
Yeah.
Sometimes they feel like they've got no choice but to continue to use their current
Yeah,
platform because transitioning is a pain in the butt.
it is. Yeah.
So the question here from our guests is: does Rentvine help moving data from the existing platform over to Rentvine? And if so, is there a cost for this?
Yeah, it's a great question. So this is it's funny. We say it's the worst thing to do. It's the hardest thing to do in property management is to change softwares. It's probably the biggest concern that we hear. It's one of the reasons why I joined this team. Because about a year ago, I was at PMI. We were managing somewhere around 30,000 plus properties, and I wanted to move softwares. And of course, you know, I have 285 different locations moving
Mhm.
30,000 doors. It's a ton and it's scary. I initially selected a different partner in order to make that move. We beta tested and found out that they were the wrong one. They weren't going to help us make that move transition and make that smooth, what we needed. And so when I found Rentvine, that's kind of what led me down this path, and understanding that a company that is built with with the thought that the PM has to use this every day, they have to transition this every day. In other words, we've focused very heavily on making that transition as easy as possible. One of the biggest challenges is that when you have a core management software and a core accounting software, you need to bring clean books into your new management software. And so we've focused on processes and systems during the transition to help clean those books, help understand and make sure that a property manager is doing trust accounting correctly with
Yeah.
up-to-date reconciliations. We want clean books starting because then we're going to have clean books finishing in Rentvine. So we focused, I mean, that's been my job over the last 8 months here, has been really working on getting that transition even smoother. There's about 85 steps involved in transitioning from any other software platform into Rentvine. We've partnered with a company called OnRamp to develop a customer-facing onboarding solution that will help lead them through all of those 85 steps in the right way. Many people on this call probably have, you know, maybe 1, 2, 3, up to 30 staff members who need to be involved in that as well at different points, right? Running a property management company is complex. And so we have different, you know, training pathways and different access pathways for each of those people who are coming into that software. So it is still a big thing. My vision is for a property manager to be able to leave town for 3 weeks and come back into a new software where their whole staff is trained up and ready. We're not quite there. And so we're working on that. The biggest challenge that you're going to run into in making that transition is historicals,
Okay.
because you are able to find and deal with the current properties and the current ledgers and making sure all of those are clean. We are actually going to handle, as a company, as Rentvine, the transition of that current stuff. We're going to build
Okay.
it software for you. We're going to make that. However, depending on the software that you came from, historicals can be a big challenge. So I'm working on a solution in partnership with companies like VPM and others to try to get a resource for you guys to be able to make that historical transition smooth. I did that, accomplished that at PMI, and it's a big part of what I'm trying to bring here. So stay tuned for more announcements on how we're going to bring the historicals over as well as the current financials. There is a cost depending on the scope of work for what you're looking
Okay.
for, what you want. An implementation cost of typically it ranges from around $10 a door to come into the software. But
Okay.
that includes everything. That includes the full transition of all of your data into the new software.
Very cool. Very
Oh,
cool.
sorry, kind of a comprehensive, that's a rabbit hole we could go deep down
Yeah, I
into.
think you provided us with a
Yeah,
lot of great
sorry about
information on
that.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah. No. So historical, current, there is a cost, and but you guys handle that, right? You guys take it
we
on
do.
and do it for the client. That's awesome.
Yep. Yep.
Um, accounting. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about accounting.
That's huge, right? That's probably
Massive.
one of the things I keep
Yeah.
hearing over and over and over in these different platforms. So give us, some bullet points there.
Yeah, so a couple of high level things. There's kind of a portfolio based account or approach to accounting inside of a software, and then there's property based accounting. So if you're out there and you're on that folio, you're probably more familiar with property based accounting, where a distributions and contributions are handled at a property level versus rent manager, propertyware, and others who are focused on a portfolio approach where the
Mhm.
distributions and contributions are at an owner level. And so an owner could own multiple properties and have a suite of portfolio basically. We kind of sit on the portfolio side, but we can be run as a property-based accounting system. We've worked hard to make sure that the trust accounting is the best in the business. We know that reconciliations, month-end closeouts are such a huge part of a property manager's life. They can be an area of stress. And so what we focused on is diagnostic tools that make it really easy to see if things are off, if they're not triple tied out, which means that the ledgers are not matching up. If they're not, if the bank account balance is different than the owner portfolio balance, that's a problem, right? So we've put a lot of diagnostic tools in there to help that property manager catch those, and also to make that month-end closeout and daily reconciliations just so much easier for that property manager. Huge focus for us.
Yeah, that is, as I mentioned, that's definitely one of the most, I feel like the most asked questions. People are either happy or unhappy with their current platform because of the accounting piece. Um,
No, I totally agree. It's massive. It's the core. I mean, I always tell property managers the fastest way to lose a client is to mismanage their money, right?
yeah,
That's what your core role is as a property manager.
yeah. Maintenance. You guys,
Maintenance.
yeah, you guys. I feel like we're talking about all the pain points, right? So accounting, and then we go into maintenance. Maintenance
We
also
do.
being a huge three-headed monster, right? So you guys have recently um, um, made some enhancements or some add-ons to the platform to address that.
Well, we want a property manager to be able to see a maintenance dashboard. We want them to be able to see everything that's happening in the way that they want to see it, so that when they log into Rentvine, they can see turnaround days, they can see open work orders, they can see upcoming projects. So we've built a lot of dashboard features. Maintenance has always been front and center for Rentvine in terms of operational, which means that, hey, we want that owner and their client to be able to have a seamless transition. When the work order comes in, the right people are connected, meaning that there's communication between the tenant and with the vendor that's been assigned, and potentially with the owner if approvals are needed. And we make that all inside of the same system. So I know that for many of you out there who you may be using an additional maintenance platform in order to manage your properties, we have tried to bring that in, not to supplant that or just be in place of it, but to supplement it, make it much easier for a property manager to administer the day-to-day maintenance and see the reports that they need to daily without having to coordinate and schedule all of these work orders.
Yeah.
Also, we are rolling out a platform to where for those property managers who have built an in-house maintenance company, as you
Okay.
hire people, you need to track them. You need to know what their day looks like, what their week looks like, where are they going, what is their path, and where are they located, and tying all that back together to the bill. So it's end-to-end maintenance from the start of the work order all the way through to the billing can be done inside of the software.
Very cool. Um, we know that there are partners in the space who are specific to maintenance, right? And we're
Yeah.
not going to mention any names. They're all great friends of ours.
Yep.
But how does that how's that different from now having this piece in Rentvine?
Yeah. Well, it's a good question because as you know, those companies are innovative and they're great companies that are constantly working to take intelligence from maintenance and make adjustments in a company. And I think that's kind of where Rentvine sits, is right between there. We
Okay.
are, we can handle end to end communication, coordination, billing, everything. And we can also deliver that in a dashboard. But I think some of those other companies will give deeper insights into trends and
Sure.
costs and things like that that we just are not going to get into. So I would say that's
Gotcha.
probably where we stop and where they begin.
Gotcha. Does that mean that so these the accounting piece, the maintenance piece, is this how is this a part of, is this something that people get as soon as they sign up for Rentvine, or how does that work?
Yeah, so we don't have any tiers. You
Love
there's
it.
one price for Rentvine. That's it. You get everything. And we've committed to that. We don't believe that that there should be a scaled down version. Maybe if you're a self owner who's who's looking for something, we've considered going into that. But for today, we're built for the single family manager, and we believe that a single family manager should have the same platform at 10 doors as at 10,000 doors,
Awesome.
with all of the same integrations, same features.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Um, I'm sure you guys hear this question a lot is, hey, do you work with or do you integrate with, right?
Yeah,
So
of
what are some
course.
of these some of the wins, some of the integrations that you guys have been able to
Yeah. So if you've heard of it in property management, we probably integrate with them.
okay.
It's kind of what I say, simply because the API is very open, and it's crazy. We have customers that can generate their own API keys and give them out to any tech partner
Okay.
that they want to use their software. But some of the ones that we've been more involved with, for example, Lead Simple, making sure that we're talking both directions with them. Tenant Turner, Show Mojo, Rently, Z Inspector. I mean, you name it, we integrate with them. It's a lot of times dependent on that developer's capability to understand and call endpoints from our integration. Maybe one of the more impressive integrations that we have is Aptly, who is
Okay.
like a customer resource management, sort of a CRM database type of a product. They do workflow as well. And it's been interesting to watch them build into us. They built a full two-way integration where when they get a customer lead that's going to become a portfolio or an owner in the software, no one is logging into Rentvine to doing that. It is
Okay.
completely in Apply, and it overwrites into Rentvine and builds all of that customer information, the property information. Every detail is built on that portfolio. So it's amazing, and it should save a lot of time and prevent customers from having to log in all the time to all these different platforms.
Awesome. Another topic I wanted to discuss here briefly is support.
Yeah.
Um, we hear it, we see it in social media groups and everywhere, where some of the concerns, some of the unfortunate complaints is I can't get any support. I can't get a
Sure.
response. So
Yeah.
what's how's Rentvine, what are you
It's
guys doing there?
Yeah, well, if you're familiar with the PMW brand, which is the sort of the father company before Rentvine, you understand that response time to support is one of the key ways to succeed as a company. And so we pride ourselves on our response time with Rentvine. So what that means is when a ticket is submitted, and it can come in either text message, it can come in a chat, it can come in just an email that's sent into support, we are responding within 30 minutes, and most issues are resolved within 2 hours of having been brought to our attention. So we're very proud. That's the metric that I get up and live by, is how quickly are we responding to people who are asking questions, and then how quickly are we resolving the issues. We have a very talented support team that we are very proud of. It's one of our core values, is being dedicated to our customers. We call it obsessively caring about the customer. And
Yeah.
so it's a core value here. Where we have not gone, and I think maybe I do see occasionally frustration, is we don't have an incoming call line where you can like
Mm,
dial a number and we're going to pick up. That's just an area that we have decided it's going to be a mixed bag of service when we go that route. And so we're concerned about that. We'd rather keep the support in-house in the United States and just build out very talented quality people. Not that you can't find those anywhere,
Sure.
but we want them to be close to the development team. We want them to be kind of arm in arm with what we're developing and what we're building. And so we focused on knowledge base articles, support videos, and then just having our guys respond immediately to questions and concerns that come in.
Yeah, no, that's great. And actually, the fact that you guys don't have a number where people can call, it's no big deal. I just added your cell
No,
phone
it's
number here in the chat, so they can.
oh, thanks. I
I
appreciate
just told
that.
everybody they can just call you directly.
They
No,
can call
I'm
me, they can reach out, they can text me, but no,
there is
it's a
one.
big thing. It's a
It
big thing.
is. It
Yeah.
is. Support is huge, right? So
Yep.
we've talked
It's
about
huge.
three major topics that are pain points I feel in the industry when it comes to the PM platform, which is accounting, maintenance, and support.
Yeah.
Um, we've got one more question here in the chat, and can you do your corporate accounting with Rentvine, or do you need to keep corporate accounting with something like QuickBooks?
The answer is yes, but we don't recommend it. We've built this platform as a trust accounting platform. So
Okay.
if you're coming from Propertyware, this might be a little bit jarring where you're like, well, in Propertyware, it was easy to manage the corporate accounting. That's where I came from, by the way. That's where my knowledge is as a property manager. And so I can understand the pain of moving. However, it is a much cleaner and safer path, we feel like, to just use it for trust accounting entirely.
Okay.
Now, it's not to say you can't do it. Yes, you can do it in Rentvine. It's very similar to the workaround that you might have seen in other softwares where you're like setting your company up as a vendor and you're paying all your bills in that way. So possible, not recommended.
Got it. Okay. Got another. We're getting some great questions here. Um, I stepped away. Hope didn't miss it. But can we do HOA management and accounting in Rentvine?
Yes. And if you're familiar with that folio, you can do it the same way as you can in that suite. I will say this, Rentvine is not built for that. However, we see it being used for that every day, and it works fine. We have CAM accounting, for example, common area maintenance accounting, fully built out. We are a fully built out multi-family platform. So functions like budgeting, rent rolls, budget versus actuals, CAM accounting, all of those things are robust within Rentvine. And so they can be used in the HOA space. Yes. Not ideal for that though. This is not going to compete with a Sync or, a Vanica type of product.
Got it. Okay. Any forecasting functionality?
Quite a bit, actually. Yeah. So we've let out on the AI side. We have a newly released global search feature where a property manager can type and soon speak what they want to do in the software. So imagine clicking on a microphone button and saying, add a $200 charge to John Smith for a parking violation. And then it's going to
Mm,
pop up and say, hey, would you like to charge this tenant this amount under this GL code for this reason? And you just say yes, and it's going to be able to do that. So that's huge. I'm super excited about that. We have a lot more on our roadmap. I'm not sure how much I'm able to talk about here.
okay.
But white labeling, for example, a portal white labeling, robust bulk billing option for those customers who are like, getting lots and lots of invoices at one time. Let's say it's utilities, maybe you get like a couple hundred and you don't want to upload each one of those. So bulk billing type of uploading. I will say this, cash pay is imminent. That one is already being tested and will roll out in the next month. So if you've been waiting for cash pay, jump on, get started now. And lastly, the other one that I'm really excited about is pods management. So I
Okay.
know that pods have become a very effective way to approach property management generally. So you can expect pods in the next couple of months as well. And that is true portfolio-based management where a property manager can assign a team of people, and that's the only properties they see. That's the reports that they are given. The action items are all around that set of properties.
I feel like we're gonna have to do a second webinar just to cover some of those things that are coming
There's so
down the
much
road.
more, but
Yeah,
all of these are driven by customer requests, right?
that's
We are
great.
super confident where we are today with the software. I think we go toe to toe and we hit hard for our weight class. But we are not satisfied. We want to develop the property management focused for single family managers, the best in the business.
Yeah, you guys are doing fantastic. So we're gonna take one more question because I do want to respect everyone's time. And um, when you talked about historical and current data,
Yes.
how current is how current is current, or does historical mean hidden properties?
That's a great question. So, as you know, in a licensed state, you need to keep a certain number of years of historical. We're going to capture all of that, everything that is required for an audit, even if it were to go back 7 years, which I believe is the longest state number. However, for current, we're talking about actual live balances. I'm talking about active properties when I say current, active ledgers, just everything to kind of make sure that the day-to-day goes
Makes
smoothly
sense. Yeah,
from the zero point of change moving forward.
that's great. That is awesome. Hey, well, I appreciate you. I threw a bunch of questions at you, man. Put you in the hot seat there for a
I'm
minute, but
here,
you had an
man.
answer.
I'm here
Yeah,
for it. Yeah.
you had an answer for everything. So we appreciate again your time today. We talked about how we're so excited about the partnership between VPM and Rentvine
Heck
and
yeah.
how you can now find RTMs on the platform with Rentvine experience.
It's
Our
huge.
team is happy to assist you with that, whether it's using the platform on your own DIY. You could take advantage of our white glove service. We'll kind of walk you through the process, or the gold glove service where we'll do it all for you. So you could email me at peterh at vpmsolutions.com for more information. But how do they get a hold of you or your team, Randall, for any questions regarding Rentvine?
Yeah, they can find me at on LinkedIn. Just Randall Henderson is probably the easiest way to get to me. For Rentvine, just rentvine.com. Yeah, submit. We do demos all day long. We've got a team of people that just handle demos. So if you guys want to see the software, just hit us up on rentvine.com.
Awesome. Okay, so I've been wrapping these up with the fun question. There's a guy that does the NARPM podcast. I don't his name's
Is it
can't
P?
remember his. He's a voice of NARPM.
Feels like it's
Uh
P something.
P something. Yeah, Pete
Yeah.
Newbig maybe. I don't
Oh,
know,
that's
but
it. Yeah, Newbig. Yeah. Yeah, that guy.
he ends his podcast with a question, and the question is, does pineapple belong on pizza? Well, I'm personally kind of tired of that question. So I've kind of switched it around. And so my question now is, when it comes to hamburgers, is it mustard, mayo, or ketchup?
Ooh. Oh man. This is a bad question for me because I'm going to get some hate from this response, but it's all three. You got to go
Oh,
all
all
three.
three.
Yeah, man, I like the flavors. You know what I mean? The ketchup and mayo just goes together so well, and then the mustard sets it off. You know what I mean?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I think you're the first guest that says all three. So, hey
I love
Randall,
it.
thank you so much again for joining us and for making time for us this morning. Yes, the webinar is being recorded, and we will send everyone a copy once it's ready for you to look over again. So again, thank you so much, Randall. Appreciate your
Thanks,
time.
guys. Thanks, Peter. See ya.
Talk to you soon.
All right.